Hello everybody, and welcome to
Signs of the Times.
Surviving Pre-Calculus, the podcast where tangent lines are real, and so is math-induced stress. I'm your host, Keanu, and today I'm joined by someone who's faced the full force of function transformation, trig identities, and unit circles, and lived to tell the tale. He's an academic powerhouse, student athlete, your go-to guy for graphing calculators. Please welcome Matthew Sachs. Let's hear a little bit about yourself.
I'm a junior at Calabasas High School. Love to play soccer and basketball. I'm almost 18 years old, and that's it.
So let's start from the beginning. What were your expectations going to pre-calculus this year?
Well, going into pre-calculus this year, I was kind of a bit nervous because I had a teacher in the years prior, and she didn't really teach me that much, I would say. It was a pretty easy class, but I didn't learn much, so I felt that I was behind initially. I was kind of uneasy going into this year.
That makes sense. So, was there a specific topic that really challenged you?
I would say the quadratic functions initially challenged me. A lot of the, some of the algebra parts of it especially challenged me, multiplying root fractions, all that. So that was my biggest challenge.
That's a pretty huge shift. So what helped you make that breakthrough?
I would say, just staying on the grind. I was persistent with it. I went to support, and Miss Tauk especially, she helped me immensely, really taught me the key concepts very clearly.
So was there a moment when you finally felt like, hey, I can do this now?
It had to have been a couple of months ago, just at the start of the second semester, I would say, when we were doing trigonomic functions, and I was graphing the tan, the sine, the cosine lines. Man, it was a breeze. I succeeded in that, and that's what really led to my led to my rise in the math industry.
So how has pre-calculus changed you and how you approach your problem solving?
Well, now I look at everything from a math perspective. I think it's really changed my whole perspective on life, actually. I look at a basketball. I'm shooting a basketball, and I think of all the calculations of the velocity and the time in the air that needs to go in the hoop, And also, I go to the market, gotta calculate how much the cost is, tax, everything. So yeah.
Cool. So what advice would you give to someone that's about to take pre-calculus?
I would say it's gonna be hard in the beginning. You're gonna feel at times distressed, frustrated. You get an answer wrong, but you need to keep pushing forward. You need to keep raising your hand, participating, because I assure you, Miss Tauk will help you, and she's a great teacher. So, it's light work from there.
It's good to hear. So now, for the big question we've all been waiting for, do you feel ready for calculus?
Well, all I can say is I was born ready. I'm so ready for calculus. Miss Tauk wants me to take calculus, and I'm ready. I know it's going to be a hard class, but I'm there for the challenge.
Matthew Sachs, thank you so much for joining us today on Signs of the Times.
Of course.
You've given us a lot to think about, and maybe even inspired a few students to open their math books willingly. And that's it for today's episode of Signs and Times, Surviving Pre-Calculus. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe and share it with your fellow math warriors. Remember, math may be irrational, but your growth doesn't have to be.
There we go.
I don't like the tone of your reply.